Hello creative friends, I'm Anastasia and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm taking you with me to several thrift shops and a thrift mall to see what beautiful home decor I can find for less. I'll also show you a few simple yet impactful DIYs that you can do on your thrifted pieces as well. Let's go! Before we dive into thrifting, I want to give you a sneak peek of this gorgeous DIY art gallery that I'll be sharing more in detail later on. I've been dreaming of creating a refrigerator art gallery for a while now, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity to finally give embroidery a try. I've always wanted to learn embroidery, but never carved out the time until now. I took a beginner embroidery class on Craftsy and used what I learned to stitch this cute little flower bouquet for one of the frames. I took the Startup Library hand embroidery class and learned all the basics of embroidery. Thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative. They have over 2,000 expert taught lessons in over 20 categories like sewing, crocheting, cake decorating, baking, painting, photography, woodworking, fitness, and so many more. As a DIYer, learning new creative skills helps me tackle more types of projects. And if you love creating beautiful things, Craftsy's professionally taught lessons are perfect for you. The professional instructors walk you through each technique with step-by-step demonstrations, providing their expert tips and tricks. I already have a long list of classes I'm excited to take, like fundamentals of cabinet making, painting your projects, and holiday-ready decor. Craftsy is always creating new classes to keep you coming back for more and help you stay inspired. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49, valid for new members only. Now let's go thrifting. My first thrift store of the day is Downtown Rescue Mission. This one typically has a lot of furniture, and I spotted this antique-looking rocking chair and ottoman for just $49.99. This standing lamp was $19.99, and I liked that it had a modern look with the black, but also had some gold accents that added just a touch of vintage. These taper candle holders could have been real silver just based on the patina, however I'm no expert on that. They were priced at $9.99 each, but I'm more of a gold lover, so I left them for someone else. I also noticed that they had an auction going on for a few really nice items, like this huge Italian pottery lamp and these two beautiful oil paintings. They were starting the bid on the lamp at $50 and starting at $60 for the pair of paintings. Now I'll show you some footage that I got while I was out of town, and I stopped into this large thrift mall, which was voted #1 in Georgia in 2017. So let's check it out. The first thing I noticed walking in here was that there is a ton of stuff, and I'm used to thrift stores having lots of items on the shelf, but this was to another level. It was almost overwhelming because you knew that you'd not be able to look at everything because there were just hundreds of booths and each one was packed to the brim with items. But I did have a lot of fun treasure hunting through this place. I found these cool vintage wooden pestles in different styles, priced between $8.50 and $18.50. Then I found this brass mortar and pestle for $58.50. I thought it was so beautiful and unlike any mortar and pestle I've seen before. This basket was also pretty, and I particularly liked the darker color of it. It was $17.99. There were lots of unique items in this place, like this Victorian style mirror stocking holder for $14.50. I really wish there had been more than one because I thought it was a really cool piece. I'm always keeping an eye out for pottery, especially handmade ones like this brown glazed pitcher, which was priced at $25. I thought $25 was a little bit more than I was willing to spend for it, but let me know if you would have brought this piece home. I just want to encourage you to take off the paper cover and look at the actual book itself when you're thrifting, because they usually look a lot better and more decorative without the cover. It was only $4.50. The inner grandma chic decor lover was really coming out in me when I saw these mini lamps with the floral design on them. There were 2 of them and they were $20 for both, and I just thought they were super precious. The last stop I'll be making today is this consignment sale. I came on one of the last days, so all of the tags that say discount yes on them mean that they're 50% off today. So this little side table was just $4. they had a lot of really awesome furniture here, including this mid-century style 4-piece set for $87.50. This was another cute side table I saw, but this one did not have a discount, so it was priced at $20, but it needed quite a bit of refinishing work. This large coffee table also caught my eye, and it was $42.50. It also had this lift top feature. Even for it being one of the last days, their decor section still had a lot of good stuff. These brass wall hooks were $4 for the two of them, and this stone paperweight was also $4. And while I liked it, it was a bit too geometric for my style. I prefer something a little more organically shaped. These blue and white ceramic cottage core bowls were $3.50 each and were just so precious. Someone with a lot of Threshold and Studio McGee items put their decor in this sale because I started finding several items like this decorative object for $4, as well as these fall colored stems, which were also $4. I found another Threshold item, which I did end up buying, so I'll show you that during the haul. And lastly, this stone rolling pin was $5, and while I loved the stone, I didn't love the yellow tone of the handles. I really wish they had been more of a medium to dark brown, which probably would complement the stone color better. Now I'll show you guys what I brought home. I've recently been searching for a unique cake stand, something that has a lot of ornate detail. I see them a lot at the thrift store, but they're usually a basic style. But I found this one at the thrift mall for only $8.95, and it has so much detail. My favorite feature is definitely this scalloped edging that it has. I think it gives it a unique look. Now I just need to thrift a glass top for it. I got these 3 brass curtain rods with hardware for only $7.99 total. They're a unique style, and I like the tone of the brass. You really just can't beat that price for 3 curtain rods. I think these will definitely come in handy when I start doing room makeovers around my house, and they'll definitely save me money on new rods. This is that other Threshold piece that I was telling you about. It's a sandy modern bowl, and it was half off, so I got it for $5. I like the idea of putting a plant in it, or of course filling it with large beaded garland. This pretty brass frame with rounded edges was $1.49, and it's just a nice, simple frame. It's a great size to add to a small side table. The brass is slightly yellow for my taste, so I want to tone it down a bit with some Rub and Buff and Grecian gold. I really like using a sponge for Rub and Buff because the texture it gives is really natural, and also because you can reuse the same sponge multiple times. Each time I've used a brush, the Rub and Buff dries really quickly on the bristles and makes them very stiff, and to clean it off you have to soak it in paint thinner or mineral spirits, so overall working with a sponge is just a lot more forgiving. Sponges are usually cheaper to replace than brushes as well. I got a large sponge from Dollar Tree and I just cut off small sections of it as I need. Hopefully you can see this on camera that the tone of the brass is already changing, and now it's more of a warm, antique looking brass instead of that really brassy yellow color. I also like that the sponge is giving it kind of a hammered metal texture. Now that it's all dry, I'm going to take just a tissue and rub it on the frame. The instructions say to rub it with a soft cloth to polish it, and I don't know that this made a huge difference on this, except it might be slightly more shiny. To get some artwork for this frame, I'm doing my tried and true method of using open access art galleries online. You can just Google open access art and several options should come up. I'll also link some in the description box for you. Today I'm using the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and once on the website I'm searching by the keyword flowers, then filtering it by drawings because I'm hoping to find something in black and white. There are hundreds and maybe thousands of options, and it's really fun to just look through them. I found this one I liked, titled Vase of Flowers by Willem van Leen, so I'm just going to download that to my computer and print it on my printer at home. In case you haven't done this before, I'll go ahead and share my own method of doing this. I like to open up a Canva document in the size that I want my picture to be. In this case, my picture frame is a 3.5 by 5. Then I'll just paste my artwork in there and make it the size of the page. You can also play around with the photo filters if you'd like to change the colors, so I went with making mine a little bit more black and white toned. Now I'm going to download it from Canva as a PNG. And make sure when you're printing it, you set your printer to print at that 3.5 by 5 or whatever size you need for your frame. If you print at home, I recommend using cardstock or canvas paper for a higher quality print. Here's how it turned out. You may have seen on my channel recently that we purchased our first home. If you haven't yet seen our empty house tour, I'll leave it linked in the description box so you can go watch it after this video. While I was unpacking all of my decor and DIY supplies, I realized I have several pieces in my stash that I still need to DIY. So I wanted to go ahead and tackle 2 of them and show you guys the process. These mini frames in particular, I have been so excited to redo. These were given to me secondhand and I'm going to use them to create one of those refrigerator art galleries I've been seeing all over Pinterest recently. First, I want to give the frames a base coat of this dark brown color. I want to make them look like antique gold frames that are darker in those deeper details. You could also use black, but I just prefer brown because it has a warmer undertone. I know this tiny gallery idea has been really popular recently, so I'll link some tiny frames on Amazon below in case you guys wanted to try this out. I'm taking this Rub and Buff in Grecian Gold with my trusty sponge, and I'm just applying it all over the frame. This product is so fun and easy to use, you really can't mess up with it. It just does all of the work for you and turns out looking beautiful. I also applied this to the sides and back of the frames as well, so that no matter what angle you see them from, it all looks seamlessly the same color. I want to turn these into refrigerator magnets, so I grabbed these ceramic disc magnets, but I do need to remove the back prop of the frame so that it sits flush with the fridge. Because of the way these were attached, it worked better to gently pull them off. Then I used some pliers to lay that metal piece down as flat as I could, since I couldn't find a way to remove it without ruining the back of the frame. Now I'm simply using a drop of hot glue to attach the magnets on the back. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I really wanted to try embroidery for the first time to make some tiny art for one of these frames. So I'll just be using some of this fabric that I got for about $1 at a yard sale. I went to Joann and grabbed several different colors of thread, and I really loved these vintage rosy pinks with the dark green. I did a couple of sketches to just figure out what design I wanted, and I'm gonna go with this little bouquet of daisies. I got this water erasable marker that I'm using to draw my design, then I'll be able to rinse it off with water when I'm done. Once I was happy with my design, I started with the embroidery. I had a lot of fun taking Craftsy's hand embroidery class and was able to learn so many stitches in just a few lessons. I had never tried this before Craftsy, and now I want to embroider everything from my hats to my crew necks and probably a few throw pillowcases as well. Don't forget you'll get a year of premium membership and access to thousands of different classes for $1.49 if you join through the link in my description. Creating a mini gallery on your refrigerator is such a fun way to style a necessary appliance and makes it more cohesive with the rest of the house. I can't wait to continue adding more tiny frames to this collection. Some of you may recognize this from Target. It was originally $20, but I actually got mine for $5 from a liquidation store near me. But I know these were pretty popular in store, so maybe some of you even have one too that you want to DIY. I love the shape, but I've always been uncertain about this orangey color, so I'm going to DIY this so I hopefully like it more. This terracotta jug from Pottery Barn is my inspiration. You can see that it already has this orange underlayer peeking through, so the first step is basically done for me, and now I just need to build those other colors up on top. I'm starting out by mixing these white and khaki colors. I'm only using a drop of the khaki just to make it more of an off-white color. I'm also adding in some baking soda to give it some texture. Now I'm taking this large paintbrush and I'm just getting a little bit of that paint onto the brush and wiping some of it off because I just want to lightly brush this over the vase so it gives it a brushed effect and you can still see that orangey color popping through a little bit. This is how it was looking the next morning after it dried, and I'm liking the way it looks so far, but we're going to continue building those layers of color. So I'm taking these two brown colors and I'm going to sponge them on with a damp paper towel. I'm just doing this in little sections and random spots on the jug to give it some signs of distress and aging, since I want it to look like an older piece of pottery that maybe has been sitting outside in a garden for a while. Now I'm taking some more of that darker brown color just to deepen up some of those dark areas a little more. Having that variation of color really makes a difference in the amount of dimension the piece has. This is how it's looking after I applied the brown colors, and I really like it a lot. So now I'm going in with those first two colors we used, the white and the khaki, and mixing that in with some baking soda again. Now I'm just going over those brown spots to get rid of any harsh edges and just make them blend with the other colors a bit better. You can see the inspiration picture has these dark dots all over the vase, but mostly there at the bottom, so I was trying to recreate this look with a little bit of dark brown paint and a small paintbrush. Then I totally ruined it when I went to dab some of that color off, and then covering up didn't work, so I just had to wipe it off and start that part over. My DIYs definitely don't always go to plan, and sometimes I have to get creative to turn my mistakes into happy accidents. I added some more dark brown distressing marks in other places around the jug, but I just kind of thought it looked too harsh, so I toned them down with the white paint so that they weren't as noticeable. I finally found a method I liked, and it was by taking the wrong end of my paintbrush and putting just a tiny amount of paint on there and letting it bounce off the jug in random places. And I really liked the speckled effect that it gave, and I thought it looked very naturally and organically placed. And this is how it turned out. I like it so much better now than before, and I will definitely be decorating with this piece a lot more now. Let me know which DIY or thrift find from today was your favorite, and if you love thrifting, DIYing, and decorating, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you have endless inspiration for making your house a home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.